We sailed our 37-foot monohull around the world, but now we have a new challenge. To sail this catamaran across 3,000 miles of Atlantic Ocean.
Although we've been here before, it turns out joining another boat can make the same ocean an entirely different experience.
With high highs...
Yeah, you're free! Yes! Result, guys.
And low lows, as we battle multiple breakages.
So it turns out it's worse than we thought, but it looks like we don't have an autopilot now.
In this series, we share the realities of life on board a catamaran, sailing across the vast open ocean, out of sight of land for weeks.
Oh crap. Right, it's the chain that snapped. The chain? The chain has snapped.
We've been at sea for 9 days now, and are over 1,000 miles from the nearest land. The ocean covers 71% of the Earth's surface, and sailing across it at 6 knots really makes us appreciate just how vast it is. We spend hours upon hours on watch, staring out at the endless waves marching all the way to the horizon. With just the sounds of the wind and sea for company, as our crewmates sleep, it's easy to feel a sense of isolation from the world. That makes chance encounters with wildlife take on a new meaning and importance.
So when Ron spotted a turtle stuck in a net as we sailed past, there was no hesitation. We furled the sails and turned round to go back and try to help.
Okay, straight ahead. Maybe hold this, hold this. What? Okay, it's dead ahead, dead in front of the port bow now. Yeah, sideways.
Hey mate! She's coming the right way. Matt, I think you're going to have to get it here with the boat hook here and walk it down.
Ahead, forward.
Yes!
Okay, neutral, Ron.
Yeah, I've got scissors.
Okay.
Okay, right.
Okay, I'm clipped
you
on.
take the scissors.
You got the...
Yeah.
You got it?
I've got the
You sure?
turtle. Yeah. You're clipped on, yeah?
I'm clipped on.
Oh, mate.
Dude. We're going to help you.
It's okay, don't panic.
I'm going to help
It's
you.
okay, it's okay.
You are properly in that net. Right round your neck. Don't start.
Careful, careful.
Don't hit me. It'd be easier with the bread knife, Matt. No.
I think the scissors are good.
Okay.
It was just that the bit round his neck is what he was focusing on first, and the turtle wasn't aware, but he was trying to help him. Panicked. Are you clipped on, Ron?
I'm clipped on. Just making sure I'm okay.
Oh, I'm a...
You got a hand on that? I've got
Yeah,
a hand on
thanks,
it.
Ron, actually.
Can
That's
you get
great.
right on the back, maybe? You can live out of water. Yeah. Bring him in.
come up one more step if you can.
No.
No, you good there?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I've got you.
Yeah, you're free!
Yes!
Result, guys, if we've done nothing else, magic.
Well spotted, Ron.
Yeah, well done.
So the three of us were sat having breakfast and Ron was helming, and he shouted that he'd seen a turtle caught in a net. He immediately started furling the genoa, turned an engine on to turn us back up into the wind to go back to it, and we grabbed the boat hook, some scissors, and just the hope that we could get it on board and try and save it. Ron did a great job, really good man overboard practice of getting us alongside, and then I just managed, it was all round its neck, so I managed to cut it free from its neck whilst it was in the water over the side, and then I managed to haul the turtle on the back deck and free the rest of it. And so we freed the turtle, which is amazing. It was completely and utterly, every fin was through an eye on this net. There was no way it was going to get out that itself. It couldn't swim down, it wouldn't have been able to hunt, wouldn't have been able to eat, and it would have just starved to death. So yeah, all this stuff just drifting around here. We're in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean.
I think we got it in time though. Its neck was still fairly fat.
Yeah, it still seemed really vigorous. Yeah, as Amy said, its neck was really fat, and I think their necks a sign of how healthy they are. If they're really starved, then they lose all the fat on their neck. So it had a real fat, healthy neck. It was fighting, trying to bite me as I was cutting it free. But yeah, that's quite something to be able to save a turtle like that. So
That was such a good start to the day to free that turtle. I think she was a female because the tail was quite small, and I think a hawksbill, but I would love it if somebody could let me know. Really nice to think that they're now free.
Spotting that turtle was the one positive for the fact that our autopilot is now broken beyond repair. If not for the need to have somebody permanently on the helm, it's unlikely we would have spotted the turtle and been able to react in time. But not having an autopilot is going to make the rest of this Atlantic crossing much more tiring for us as a crew.
Not having an autopilot is definitely going to make life more difficult over the next few weeks, but I'd still rather be out here than not, and I think we're just going to have to make the best of it and try and enjoy it.
Without the autopilot, we have shortened our watches from 4 to 2 hours at a time, meaning a more broken sleep pattern on board.
eat, sleep, sail, repeat, I guess. The design of this boat is great with this bubble to keep watch on, and you've got this really nice comfy seat to sit on. You can't really reach the wheel very well while sat on the seat, unless you steer with your feet, and then you can sit nice and comfy back on the seat. If you've got long legs, I think I might be the only one on board who can do this.
It's 10 to 8 in the evening, and I'm just about to go and take over from Matt, who's been steering for the last couple of hours, and I've got a 2-hour shift, then some time to sleep, and then I'm back on watch again at 4 o'clock in the morning. But it's a lot more difficult to keep the boat going in a straight line in the dark, because at the moment it's just pitch black. There are no stars, we've got a lot of cloud cover, and you can't even see the sails from the helming station, so you're just focused on the instruments, and the tighter you get, the harder it is to concentrate. So yeah, really glad that we're only doing 2-hour watches. It's kind of the maximum really that we feel like we can hold concentration for, but it doesn't sound like it's too windy at the moment, so should hopefully be a fairly straightforward watch.
Pretty uneventful watch really, just sailing along at averaging about 5.5 knots with just the Genoa up. As the sun went down, it gets a little bit more difficult to steer because you can't see the waves, and so you can feel them rocking the boat around, and of course that throws the boat off course, so you're constantly moving the wheel to counteract that, so it's a little bit tiring. That's why we've changed down to only having 2 hours on watch at any one time. Day 12 out here crossing the Atlantic. It's a beautiful sunny day, a few little trade wind clouds in the distance, and we got the spinnaker up, absolutely charging along. We're just putting the spinnaker up like this, and we've got a little bit more wind today, means instead of sailing along at 4.5 to 5 knots, we're suddenly charging along at 7 knots, which is brilliant, because although we're enjoying hand steering at times, everybody is a little bit over the hand steering and looking forward to getting to the Caribbean so that we can get some spare parts of the autopilot and go back to not having to hand steer.
It's certainly more fun helming under spinnaker, and there are some positives for hand steering. I definitely feel more of a connection with the boat than when we left. When we left, it felt like we were kind of passengers on board when we were keeping watch, and yeah, I have enjoyed having a bit of time, extra time helming and getting to know the boat a bit better, but yeah, the thought of there being another week ahead of us, I'm trying not to focus on too much.
Beautiful to be sailing along the spinnaker. It's absolutely glorious out here. The weather on this transatlantic so far has been absolutely fantastic. Hardly any squalls, just easy weather for sailing.
Well, he had to go and say that, didn't he? Later that afternoon, the squalls began.
So here we are, merrily sailing along today. We've got a few more clouds around and some of them are starting to rain. There's one behind us which has been chasing us down for the last hour. Just so that you can't see anything underneath it apart from rain. So at some point we're going to get absolutely rinsed clean. It's just a question of waiting for it to come. We've only got the Genoa up, no mainsail, so there's nothing to worry about really. If it gets really windy on the front edge of it, we can just fill the Genoa with a pull of the string. So pretty chilled out way to go sailing, but we're only doing 4 knots at the moment because we've only got the Genoa up, so I guess it's relaxing but slow. Other than the big black squall, it's a beautiful day. It shouldn't be too bad because we'll be able to just put the clears down in here in this nice little bubble at the helm and carry on steering without getting wet. Should be very civilised. think this catamaran sailing is more civilised than monohull sailing, especially with this boat, because you're inside a lot. You don't really feel that unsafe because you don't really go out on deck, although this is a big hole here to fall out of, so especially at night, or if it's a bit choppy, we do clip on even if we're in here. But yeah, it's definitely more civilised, bigger bed to sleep in, space to wander around. But she doesn't sail like a monohull, she just wallows. The steering's, well, she's 14 tons this boat, so when you steer one way, get the boat going that way, and then you have to kind of counteract steering, otherwise she just carries on going that way with a lot of momentum. So the steering isn't anywhere as nice and doesn't have the good feel of a monohull, or of Florence, don't know many other monohulls. But yeah, definitely more comfortable though. Another squall, more rain. It'll blow through in about 5 minutes again, I imagine. It's quite handy, these catamarans, lots of places to sit without getting wet.
The waves are amazing today. I think on the forecast it said they're up to 3.8 metres, but I think about 3 metres is probably the minimum that shows up on camera. And I just love the colour of the waves mid-ocean, because you get this really intense like indigo blue, and then as they crest you can sometimes see the light shining through them and they just look like glass. The colours are unbelievable. I guess it's so beautiful because it's really the only like dramatic change of scenery that you get when you're mid-ocean. The mood and the colour and everything about them just changes dependent on the weather. So yeah, I've just spent most of my off watch today trying to capture them, which is pretty much impossible, but I've enjoyed trying.
Okay, my turn for fun game. Thank you. It's a squally day. Lots of rain squall clouds around us. We just enveloped in one. One's just overtaken us. We had 38 knots then, just as it hit. So we reefed down the Genoa. We're just going with it. Sea state's not too bad though. It's built up a little bit, but it's absolutely beautiful. The sea state. Just looking out at the waves, there's just some of them are breaking, and you get the turquoise just in the crest of the wave as it breaks. Absolutely beautiful day to be out in the ocean. Just a bit more effort because you've got to keep reefing the Genoa when these squalls come in, and then in between you've got to let it back out again, otherwise we're down to like 3 or 4 knots. But it's quite nice compared to Florence being in this bubble, so although it's chucking it down, I'm here in a t-shirt and I'm not getting wet, so it's quite nice. It's fairly clear behind at the moment. Okay. We're well reefed now, been kind of averaging 6s, occasional 4s and 5s, occasional 7s and 8s. Okay.
Definitely bigger waves today. It's the first day I've spilled my coffee coming onto watch. Very uncivilised.
Oh yeah, what, this luxury big platform rocked enough to spill coffee?
Yeah, I know.
Shock horror.
I think I'd have had to be holding the kettle onto the gimbaled stove on Florence today.
Ah, we'd have been going like a rocket ship though. We're now about 5 days out from the Caribbean, and we're starting to get a lot more squalls. There's a lot more moisture in the air, a lot more raining clouds, and those raining clouds generate squalls. It's in the forecast. The forecast was to be gusting maybe 31 knots overnight. We actually saw 45 at the peak, and quite a lot of squalls that are over 30. So we're sailing with just a reef Genoa at the moment, and the sea state's got up a bit, but I think, looking at the forecast, this is going to be the windiest day, and then it should gradually calm down, although we will still have squalls all the way to the Caribbean. And it's not just the waves that have got bigger, the flying fish have got bigger too. Found this one on deck this morning, a casualty of the night. But yeah, only 5 days to go now, 700 and something miles, nearly there.
Next time, we will take you through a real 24 hours of life on board as we sail across the ocean. Spoiler, there is no yoga or beauty routine involved.
Right, well Matt deals with that. I can get us back on course and unfurl these sails.
For extra updates in between these bi-weekly videos, and to find out what we're up to in real time, head over to Patreon and join the crew. Of course, don't forget to subscribe to make sure that you don't miss the next episode here on YouTube.
Continuing our voyage would not be possible without the support of our patrons. Thank you to all of you, and especially to our star patrons.